Karlos is the oldest of his two brothers, Kevin and Kalvin, and of his cousin Kaylin. The four of them run New Orleans with an iron fist. With their father stepping down and handing the throne to Karlos and his brothers, they have to live up to everything Kaine has built. Karlos, aka Killz, is a straight savage. He does not play about his family or their business. That stresses from Louisiana to Miami. All about his business and pretty much nothing in between. Love was never on the agenda. As fate would have it, he has a change of heart when he meets the sexy Kylee Ricci. Kaylee is the oldest of her three sisters, Kimmora, Kelly, and Keira. They are from Italy but moved to the States with their drug dealing father after their mother died giving birth to the twins, Kelly and Keira. The sisters are headstrong, smart, beautiful, and extremely close. Life as they know it changes dramatically when Kylie finds herself unintentionally falling for Killz the Savage from New Orleans. When the Royals meet the Riccas, it is one hell of a ride. Infidelity, shootouts, robbery, betrayal at an all time high. Through it all, will love prevail? Or will the dangerous lives of the Royals fill the sister's heart with regret? Find out what happens when the Royals give their hearts to New Orleans Savages in between the sheets of this captivating read. Hello, my beautiful people. We are here for another Londyn Lenz review. Um, this is actually the first book that made me like Londyn Lenz writing. Like, I was really intrigued by it and enjoyed it. And let's get into it, because you know what? Let me be completely transparent. I had recorded a review for this book, and as I was, I had been done, was going back editing, listening to the episode. I didn't like it, so I completely scrapped it and I started all over. Because I was talking about the last review that I did, which was episode 51, and how much I did not like that story. And that's still true. I'm still standing on it. And her writing could definitely be better. In the sense of it's very childish, childlike, and where all of her characters are, especially the male characters, they're very obsessive with their partners. And at first I loved that. Like, when I first started reading her work, I was like, of course I want my partner to be like this with me. And now, and let me be very clear, because I don't want to come across as one of those people as, ooh, I turned 30, I'm wiser now, I just know everything, because that's not the case. But going back to read this story, noticing how problematic it is. And but certain people are gonna love this, and they're probably gonna hear this episode and like, huh, here you go, bashing, and I'm not trying to do that, but I do want to highlight the problems that I feel like are wrong with this story. But at one point, it's like I was hanging on by a thread, like, please, when is the next update? But like I said, going back to read it now, and I guess it is the way of the world, where it's like you see things and it's like, yeah, there's a problem with that. But I want to put a trigger warning out there. Like I said, the men are obsessive and controlling. There's cheating, which I absolutely hate. And jokes about sexual assault. And I know you're probably thinking like, that's where I can stop right there. It's like, and there's a lot of homophobia. Like, in all of her writing, I do believe she's homophobic. And it's just like, and I know she's from Detroit and she lives in Detroit, and that's probably just the way that things are over there. But just a trigger warning, if you ever do decide to pick up the book, this is what's in that book. So you just have to look forward to that. So, let's hop into it. The book is called In Love with the New Orleans Savage. So we have a group of brothers where you have Karlos is the oldest, and he has two brothers, Kalvin and Kevin, and Kaylin is their cousin, but they're all real close, and they have a friend who is like their brother, Brandon. Um, and then we have a group of sisters who Kaylee is the oldest, followed by Kimmora, and then there's twins, Kelly and Keira. And Brandon has a girlfriend named Tiffany. Um, so one night they're throwing a party for Kevin because he just opened his barbershop. So it's like to celebrate him. And, they're also like drug dealers. So, they have their own little businesses on the side as well to make quote unquote legitimate money. So Tiffany knows Kimmora from college. They have a class together. So she invited Kimmora, who, of course, told her, I'm bringing my sisters along. So when they're all in the VIP section together, we have, let's see, because there are so many Ks. That's another thing I hated. I wish it would have been like, okay, maybe the guys all had their names starting with one letter and then the girls had another letter. But all these Ks, I'm pretty sure I'm going to mix up a couple and she does it in the book too. That was another thing. It's just like where one name is there, it's like, she meant the other. That's why I feel like it should have been a different letter. So when Tiffany introduces them, Kalvin gravitates towards Keira. Then we have Kevin and Kimmora. Then Kaylin and Kaylin. Wait, what? I messed that up. Kaylin and Kelly. See, already in my notes, I literally have Kalvin to Keira, Kevin to Kimmora, then Kaylin to Keira, and it should have been Kaylin to Kelly. Um, you have Karlos, who is the big brother. He apparently has a alter ego named Killz, because the royal brothers and cousin, they all have these gray eyes. So, they have these light eyes. And whenever he's really upset, his eyes turn pitch black, and everybody in the street knows him as Killz. But anyway, he's laid back smoking, like not really interacting with the group, although he's staring directly at Kylee. So she goes and sits down because it's like, oh, you're not gonna say anything to me. And everybody else is off like being quote unquote booed up, meeting the person that they're attracted to. So he tells her, it's rude for you to be on your phone while you're out with friends. And she's like, oh, so you do talk because you didn't say anything to me and everybody else is having their own private conversation. So I didn't think anything of it. So he takes her phone and like then takes her outside onto the roof because they own the club that they're in. And he's like, because it's awkward. Because like I said, he constantly had like his face. He has a resting bitch face, so he's constantly looking mean. So she's like, what we doing out here? He's like, I didn't come out here to kill you. Relax. Like I just wanted you to see that this is a place where I clear my head. So they get to talking, and he's like, at some point I'm coming for you. I want you to be my girl. So everybody that you talking to, get rid of them and be done with it. And she's like, he's cute. She's attracted to him. Whoop de whoop, whatever. So they exchange numbers, and come to find out that their birthdays are a day apart. He has a computer, I think, engineering degree, and she's in school right now. Um, But he tells her, he has to go to Miami, but while he's there, he wants to talk to her. So she better be by the phone. And it's like, nigga, I just met you tonight. Don't you think you ought to pull it back a little bit? but he don't think so. Um, and so at one point, they're flirting through text, and it turns into a phone conversation because he asks, like, what are you about to do today? And she's like, oh, well, me and my sisters, we're going to work out with our trainer. And he hears the word trainer and was like, that better be a woman. And she's like, no, actually, it's whatever the guy's name was. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, like, and that was another thing. Like, I couldn't stand, like, they literally could not be around no other man. Can't no man say hi, smile in a direction, or it's a problem for everybody. And I'm just like, huh? Like, you want your partner to be protective over you. Cause I think I've said this before. Like, some people don't, but even if you don't act like it's a red flag for other people to find it attractive if their partner is kind of like territorial over them, because I find it sexy, but this is obsessive, like I said at the beginning. Um, so he group chats his brothers, like, they going to work out in these little bitty clothes and working out with this guy. So Kalvin, Kaylin, and Kevin show up at Kimmora's house like, what the fuck y'all doing? Y'all got the game messed up. And they're like, first of all, how did you find out where we live? We never told you where we lived, and we never told y'all what we was doing today. So how do y'all know any of that? And so Kayla comes down into her apartment. I was gonna say coming downstairs. Um, oh, but they all do stay in the same like condominium apartment. So, and they all have keys to each other houses. So I do believe that Kaylee is like upstairs from Kimmora's apartment. So she comes in and was like, I'm so sorry. I was just on my way to tell y'all about this. Like, haha, this is so funny. It's like, no, because first of all, y'all not telling me that I can't work out with this trainer that I paid for and that I want to work out with. It ain't even about the money. If I wanted to work out with him, I'm gonna work out with him. And like, there's nothing funny about this. I just don't understand. And then y'all showing up and then him calling his brothers. It's just like, what is going on? But, they find it cute and it's no problem. Well, Kimmora was upset because she's like, how do y'all know just to pop up here? And he's like, man, I don't care. Y'all shouldn't have never made us catch feelings for y'all. And it's just like, so because you want to do more than have sex with me, that's my fault and I should have never made you catch feelings and now I have to do what you say. I don't think so. But they like it. I love it in this universe. So they all decide to go down to the gym that's like in the condominium and then go out to eat from there, except for Kimmora. She's like, I don't feel like it anymore. I don't want to do nothing with y'all because he don't piss me off. But of course he stays behind and he's like, all of what I just said again, like, y'all messed up, making us catch feelings for y'all. I don't feel no way about messing up your plans to work out with this trainer. It is what it is. So just get with the program. And she's like, no, nigga. But they go out to eat and they have this conversation because it was Kimmora's like point of view in the chapter. And she actually already had a crush on Kevin before the girls went out to the club to meet the brothers. Um, but he was always seen with a woman and they never like really interacted with each other the few times she had went out with Tiffany before. So she just told her sisters, like, I really don't know who these guys are that we're going out with, but I know Tiffany and I know her boyfriend, and basically that is what it is. But she knew the woman as Christy. So when they go out to eat and they're walking outside, they're approached by her and she's hooping and hollering like, what you doing with this bitch? And so this why you can't answer none of my calls because you out with this bitch. And at first, like, Kimmora wasn't saying nothing. She was basically playing the background and letting this scene fall out in front of her until Chrissy tries her. So she punches her and knocks her out. And they leave and go to Kevin's house where they have sex and like basically make things official. So the same thing happens for Karlos and Kylee, where they agree to be a couple. And it's like, this is official now. You're my man, you're my woman type of thing. So then we have, like basically everything is going great for everybody. Then we have Kelly and Keira who are at the mall together, just doing some shopping. And as they're shopping, Kelly sees somebody who looks like Kaylin, but she's not too sure because he's with another woman. So she's following behind him to make sure that he's who she thinks he is, while making sure he and the girl don't see her. So when she finally sees that it's actually him, she texts him like, hey, what you doing? What's going on? So he's like, I'm just dealing with some bullshit, but after I wrap this up, I want to see you. And so she's telling her twin, like, what's going on? Like, this nigga is literally lying to my face right now. So she walks up to him, confronting him, like, oh, is this the bullshit you have to take care of? And, he's looking like a deer caught in headlights at the fact that he's caught. And she calls him by his real name, like, is this what you had to deal with, Kaylin? And the girl that he's with is like, why does she get to call you by your real name and I don't? And I've been sleeping with you for the past 4 months. And Kelly, she's upset about this because she's like, I asked you if you were seeing anybody and you said no. And he's like, sleeping with and like having a girlfriend, those are not the same thing. But anyway, she leaves the mall, her and Keira, and she pulls her car into a private parking lot that they have, and she doesn't go to her apartment. Her and Keira go to Kylie's apartment. Kylie's apartment, because she's always with Karlos now, so they know she's not going to be there. And they both just cut off their phones because even though Keira, her and Kalvin, they good, but she's like, fuck it, I'm riding with my twin, giving very much Beyonce and Solange, like, I'm riding for my sister. So we turning off our phones, we getting some liquor, we finna eat some food, fuck these niggas for the night. And so the very next morning, Kelly, she wakes up to multiple calls and text messages and voicemails from Kaylin, wanting to know like where you been, your phone. Your phone was off and your car ain't in the parking lot. So you better not say you was at home, because you definitely was not at home. And she won't tell him. She's like, you lied. So why you trying to check up on me? Like, whatever little thing we had going on is no longer going on. So don't contact me. And he almost calls her out her name and is like, man, quit playing with me. Where have you been? So she hangs up. She's not talking to him no more. So Keira has to calm Kalvin down as well, because he's like, why was your phone off? Like, because she laughing at him on the phone. He's like, you laughing because you bullshit. And she was like, no, I actually was with my sister, but also I was gonna ride with my sister. So if she was turning off her phone, I was with my sister. But she's like, we could go to breakfast and we'll talk about it then. And he tells her, don't ever cut your phone off. I always need access to you. Even if like, I'm not mad that you was with your sister and riding for your sister, hey, I respect that. But at least keep the phone on, text me, call me or something. But don't just cut the phone off and I don't know where you at and can't get to you. So Kelly is set up on a blind date by her friend. Because they meet up for dinner with the friend and her boyfriend, and then there's another guy there. So it's just like, oh, okay. I kind of would have been mad. I'm like, bitch, if I didn't ask you to set me up, and I'm thinking like we coming out to have dinner together, why? So while Kelly is on this unknown to her blind date, Kaylin is calling her, and she, at first she's ignoring his phone calls until it's just like, okay, he won't stop calling. So she has to get up from the table, and it's like, you guys, I'm so sorry. Please excuse me. And before she can even say hello, he's like, get up from that fucking table, from that date you on. And she's like, you know what? No, click, hangs up, and goes back. And then next thing you know, this fool is walking into the restaurant and pulls up a seat at the table, like between Kelly and her date, and start eating the dinner rolls. And he's like, I don't know what this is and why she would set you up like this, but she very much is in a relationship, and she's leaving with me, so you ain't got nothing coming. So the guy says something smart like, "Oh, I'll make sure that she gets home." Next thing you know, this nigga got a red dot on, I think, either his forehead or on his chest, and it's like, you want to say that to me again? So Kelly gets up and leaves with Kaylin, and he's telling her, which this part pissed me off. Like, the whole book is like, really? But he's walking towards his car and telling her, follow me to my house. And so she tells him, like, I'm not following you nowhere. I'm going home. I'm just like, why would you tell him what you gonna do? I would let valet pull my car around. And when he's like, follow me to my house, I'm like, okay. And I'd have hopped in my car so fast and sped out that bitch and went back to that private parking that you have that he cannot gain access to. It just would have went to my house. Like, why you telling him I'm not following you anyway? It's just like, so you want to go with this nigga that you claim that you mad at and you upset with, and that quote unquote played you. But anyway, they go back to his house and they make up, and he's like, you can't be mad at me. You my woman, whoop de whoop. You know, everything is great. And that's basically the whole book, where it's obsessive. Don't let no man talk to you. Don't let no man touch you. Um, they even take a trip to Cancun together. Like, it's very fast paced. This book is. I just want y'all to know. And they had a good time there. Nothing really happened. And then it's like when they get back, Karlos, he has a girl as well that he her name is Zena, that he been messing with, like, constantly, like, of course, how they all do. Like, the girl is just for sex. They're not in a real relationship, but she blows him up all the time, constantly calling his phone, whatever, whatever. And Kylie tells him, like, I know that's her calling your phone and you could do something about it. Like, block that bitch, don't talk to her, or this relationship and situation is over. He's like, we'll never be over. And that's the thing that pisses me off about this, though, with I want to say with a lot of these books, it's kind of like, especially with the men, you bet not ever, but you bet not complain when I do what I say you bet not never do, as far as entertaining the opposite sex. Because Kylie made a great point. She's like, y'all killers, are basically talking to Karlos, like, you're a killer. You can stop anybody from playing with you at any point. And if a man even looks in my direction or appears as if he's looking at me, he might be looking past me, you are ready to riot. But you steady letting this girl call your phone, and she leaving you voicemails, and you getting up in the middle of the night to listen to the voicemails, but then you acting like you so obsessed with me, and you can't live without me, but you still checking up on this bitch. So it got to be something there. And he like, man, fuck that bitch. I ain't worried about her. It ain't nothing like that. No, it's something like that. Cause you can definitely stop her from calling you, or you can block her. And he did block, like, her original number, but she was also calling from other numbers. So it's just like, you can stop this, but you don't want to stop this. But it's like, I would have been like, but I could stop this relationship. So anyway, one night he has to go, like, he's manager of the club for the night because everybody else is busy. So he gets, quote unquote, so drunk and so high that he has sex with Zena at the club. And it's even to the point where they pass out, sleep together, and she's sleeping on his chest. So after that, he does this big old grand gesture for Kylie where he takes her to dinner. He buys her all of these clothes, and then he takes her to the hotel, and they have like great sex, like better than any other sex they've ever had. And she's thinking it's just him being a great boyfriend until one day she gets a manila folder delivered to her, and it's pictures of Karlos and Xena from that night having sex. So she does this, which I will never understand. People who set up like beautiful gestures to let somebody know that you caught them cheating. So anyway, she has rose petals like all over his house leading up to his bedroom. And when he gets like to the bedroom, there's candles lit, and on the bed is hearts and rose petals and the manila folder like on the bed. And Karlos is thinking this is her way of telling him that she might be pregnant. So he's hype to open the folder. And so when he opens the folders and sees the actual photos, like, his heart drops. And he goes around his house, and everything that she had over at his house is gone. Like, there's no traces of her whatsoever. She took every single thing. And he goes out to like one of the windows, and he has a dumpster in the back of his house, and he sees that all of her things has been thrown in that dumpster and is covered in red paint. So there's no way that it can be recovered. So, there's like 2 to 3 months where they're broken up, and he acts a fool trying to get her back, but it's like a no go. She even moves out of the apartment, and it's just like she wants nothing to do with him. Now, in that time that they're broken up, not someone, the Royals' uncles, like half uncles, that's funny, but their dad's half brothers kill their parents, kill Karlos's parents. So, and she wanted to reach out, Kylee does, but she's like, everybody told her, he's going dark. He's not talking to nobody. He's just in a bad place. So, it just would not be the best time to reach out to him. So she doesn't. Until one day he shows up at her new apartment, and he heard that she had a new boyfriend, and he had finally like come up for air, so to speak. So he shows up at her place, and they have a conversation where he's like, thank you for the well wishes. Everybody told me you have been looking for me, but I'm good. You ain't even got to worry about it. And then he's like, she gets a call from the new boyfriend, and she steps away from him to like take the call in the kitchen. And for some reason, that just wakes something up in him like, ain't no way she gonna be with this nigga in my face. So he follows behind her and hangs up the phone, and it's like, baby, I can't be without you. You the only one for me. I'm so sorry that I hurt you, but I'm gonna do better this time. And you can go ahead break up with him because that's done and over with. And of course she agrees. Well, I shouldn't say of course, because she tells him like, you really broke my heart, and I just don't think that I can go there with you again. But and him being his dominating, obsessive way, he's like, it's either me or nobody, so it is what it is. And she's like, I've always loved him. When it's her point of view, she's like, I've always loved him, and I just don't see myself being without him, so we're gonna try again. And so at the end of this book, because there's not really a time frame, I want to say this shit happens in the know what, it was May. It was May, and what did I say? They shared the same birthday. So the birthday had came and passed, and it might have been maybe March. So close to a year, all this has happened. And in the epilogues, everybody is married except for Kaylin and Kelly. I believe they're engaged, but everybody else is married and pregnant except for those two. So yeah, so that was like the happily ever after for everybody. Everybody got pregnant and everybody had a baby except for Kaylin and Kelly, because they decided to travel the world, and they're like the fun couple while everybody else is at home raising kids now within the span of a year. So yeah, but come back next week because I'm also reviewing Married to a Married to a New Orleans Savage, and we'll talk about that as well. Peace and blessings, my beautiful people.